Today's topic, we are going through how to, number one, increase your self-worth, and number two, how to heal through your past. So this is quite a sensitive topic. So I guess disclaimer and trigger warning for everyone that's going to be listening to this is that, everything I say on this podcast is nothing personal, nothing direct, and take it as a grain of salt. This is just one man's perspective of what I've been able to achieve with myself, with clients, from all the research, study, and work I've done on myself and with clients. And some of this stuff has gotten some incredible results. I've gotten incredible results to back up this style of teaching and these frameworks. So, guys, I mean no disrespect to anything I'm about to say, and let's get into it. Let's have some fun. So, guys, first of all, self-worth. The way to increase self-worth, that's also called confidence, could call it self-love, could call it self-value. The way to increase your self-worth is you need to get clear on what are your values, okay? I use values a lot. If you ever listen to me, it's the most common word I probably use, but we have a list of life priorities. What is most meaningful to you? And that is individual to you, because a lot of people put social expectations on what their values should be from your parents, from your upbringing, from society, from your religious beliefs, and you get all these expectations put on you. And if you've been there before, whack in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. But we get all these expectations put on us, and those are not what I refer to as values. When I say values, it's what's intrinsically most meaningful to you. And that's been the authentic version of you. Because if you want high levels of self-worth, guys, you got to be your authentic self. You got to be you. You got to express yourself. Low self-worth is feedback that you're not being authentic, that you're prioritizing someone else's values and you're not prioritizing your own. So the key with self-worth, it's pretty much 2/3 steps, is number one, get clear on your values. Now, there's a process I take people through. I do that for clients, but if you're interested in that, guys, just comment below or just reach out to me, and I'm happy to reach out and guide you through that. But you got to get clear on what's meaningful to you. Is it family? Is it your career? Is it your relationship? Is it your wealth? Is it learning? Is it your health? Is it experiences? Is it your friendships? And everyone is different. It might be singing. It might be dancing. It might be traveling. It's whatever it is for you. Get clear on that. And just a tip, when you do the values determination process, is you got to be absolutely fucking honest. Don't put in things that you think you should be or have to be or ought to be or have got to be because of your upbringing, because of expectations, because of all the beliefs that you've downloaded in your upbringing. You got to be authentic, guys. You got to be absolutely brutally honest with yourself. Because when you go through the values determination process, there's a question where you say, is A more important than B, or is B more important than A? So, for example, is your health more important than your friends, or is your friends more important than your health? And some people feel guilty for saying one or the other. A very conflicting value that people have is family and money. They're the most conflicting too. Because hypothetically, if you had money and family in your values, and you get to the point where you have to say, is money more important than family, or is family more important than money? Socially speaking, from society's expectations, a lot of people will feel guilty if they don't say family. But that's you taking on someone else's values and someone else's expectations on how to live. And when you say you might not value your family as high as money, that doesn't mean you don't love your family. It just means it's not a high priority for you. Like for me, family isn't a high value of mine. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I'm there for them whenever they need me. But a symptom of a high value is you think about it, you talk about it, you spend money on it, it excites you, it energizes you, it inspires you. And family in this phase of my life doesn't really do that. I never really catch myself speaking too much about family or spending too much time with them. Like I see them once a month, give or take, and that's enough to fill up my cup. For some people, they spend hours with their family every day. They talk to them every single day, and that is fucking awesome. Whatever it is to you, you just got to be honest, because I felt really guilty for not having certain things in my values because I thought I should have had them in there and they were meant to be there. So the key is, guys, get clear on your values, but get really authentically clear on it. Get authentic, be real, be vulnerable, be honest with yourself, and don't put other people's values on top of yours, okay? So that's step one. Step 2 is you want to schedule it in, because I was working with a client and we got on a call and I was like, "How was your week this week?" And she's like, "Oh, look, I've just been feeling a little bit off. I just haven't been myself and I just feel a little bit down." I said, "Great. Well, low self-worth, or if you're feeling off, is feedback that you're not prioritizing your values and you're not being authentic and you're not living in alignment. So let's go through your values." So we went through hers. We had determined them together. And I said, "Great, you tell me, which ones have you not prioritized this week?" And her eyes just opened up and her jaw dropped. She's like, "Shit, my top two, my health and my friendships. I haven't trained and I haven't really eaten healthy this week and I haven't seen my friends at all." So beautiful. So I asked her, "Was that scheduled into your calendar?" No, it wasn't. Because I live by this rule. This has changed my life. Very simple, but very effective. Whatever doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. So schedule it in, guys. Schedule in time with your family. Schedule in time with your friends. Schedule in time with your partner. Schedule in time for your health. Schedule in time for your image. If image is a high value of yours, my partner is a high value of hers. She has her lashes booked in. She has her training booked in. She has her skin appointments booked in, because health is a high value of hers. So she books it in. She schedules it in. So get clear on your values. Number 1. Number 2, schedule it in, because whatever doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. For the people asking questions, I will certainly answer those at the end of this. Number 3 is you got to set boundaries. Set boundaries around them. So when people put their values ahead of yours and you don't have a boundary in place, it's like when people, they just emotionally dump and unload on you, and it can really affect you personally, because you might not have a barrier where you say, "Hey, look, I would love to help you, but right now I have to prioritize myself and look after myself, and I'm just not here for you right now. However, if you want to talk later, I've got time available here where we can really catch up and go through that properly." Or whatever the situation might be. It's like if you've booked in time for you to train and go to the gym, but then a friend calls you and says, "Hey, you want to catch up?" If you're not clear on that boundary, that, "Hey, look, I would love to catch up with you. I can't wait to see you. However, I'm training at this time and I need to make sure I do that because it's important to me, to my mental health, my physical health. So I can't do that now. However, I'm free on Sunday at this time. How does that work for you?" But if you don't have boundaries set within those values, then you're going to allow other people's priorities and values and expectations overstep yours, and therefore your self-worth goes down. So you got to live to them, guys. So number 1, let's refresh. Number 1, get clear on your values. And you got to ask yourself questions. What do you think about? What do you talk about? What inspires you? What energizes you? What do you spontaneously get inspired to do? What do you fill your space with? There's a process that I go through. If you're interested, guys, just comment below or reach out to me personally and I can help you through that process. I have a free video. I think it's actually on YouTube. Actually, go to YouTube, Lewis Huckstep, Values Determination. I think it's on YouTube. Just YouTube it. It's absolutely free. It's all yours. So go get clear on your values, then schedule it in, then 3, set boundaries around them and hold people to them. Because every time you don't, and you put someone else's expectations and priorities ahead of yours, you lower your self-worth, you're going to beat yourself up, you're going to feel guilt, you're going to feel resentment, and it's not a good time. So I highly recommend doing what I just said. Now, I hope that made sense. That's part 1. How to increase self-worth is do that, okay? Just live to your values. As simple as that is, live to your values. But you get clear on what they are, schedule them, and set boundaries around them. Now, part 2 is we're going to talk about how to heal through your past, okay? Now, again, trigger warning, disclaimer, guys, just one man's opinion that's worked really well with his clients, okay? But what has worked fantastic with this, there's an incredible man called Dr. John Demartini. He has an incredible process called the Demartini process. And he goes, it's a process that allows you to neutralize your perceptions. So everything you experience in life, actually, I'm going to share a story. I'll share a story first. It's called The Chinese Farmer. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it. It's quite a well-known story. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't know it word for word, but I'm going to share with you the Chinese farmer. So a farmer, he has a horse, and the horse runs away, and the whole town comes to him and says, "Well, that's too bad. Sorry to hear that." And the farmer says, "Maybe." And then that same horse returns with 7 other wild horses, and the whole town comes to him and says, "Well, congratulations. You must be so happy." And he says, "Maybe." And then his son was trying to tame and train one of the wild horses, and the horse injured him, and his son broke his leg. And the whole town came up and said, "I'm so sorry to hear that. Bad luck." And he said, "Maybe." And then the recruitment officers for the war came around, and they went to recruit his son to take his son out to war, to battle, to potentially die, but he wasn't accepted because he had a broken leg. And the whole town says, "Congratulations, you must be so happy your son's not going to war." And he said, "Maybe." And the purpose of that story is you don't know what the ending is, what beginning is an ending and what ending is a beginning. Everything is leading to something. Because when we get so caught in the moment of something painful or traumatic or hurtful or a wound that we've been through in the moment, it can fucking hurt, guys. It can really fucking hurt. It can hurt you emotionally, mentally, physically. And when you're in that sort of, especially when you're younger, when you're not as developed, you haven't cognitively developed, and you don't understand these beliefs and these patterns of regulating your perceptions, regulating your emotions. Like if you're a 6-year-old and someone says that, and someone hurts you because they didn't allow you to feel seen and feel heard and feel loved, that can be really traumatic for a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old. Compared to like if you say my age 25 and older, or whatever age you are, looking back at that, you might not see that as painful or traumatic. But again, remember you had a younger mind when you're growing up. Remember your 5-year-old self, your 6-year-old self, your 3-year-old self, your 14-year-old self. So when you're going through those moments when you went through a breakup, or you went through abuse, when you went through pain, when you went through trauma, you want to learn how to neutralize that event. And how to do that, you want to see how that event has served you and is serving you. And that can fucking hurt to hear. And I'm not here to offend anyone. I've done this process with people that have been physically abused, sexually assaulted, emotionally assaulted, abandoned, anything you can really think of. And it only works if you're willing to look. Let me use an example. What was most traumatic for me when I was growing up? I was bullied as well, but what was most, I guess, painful for me and traumatic for me growing up is that I never felt safe to express my authentic self. That was what was most painful for me. From my family to my friends to school to social environments, I just felt really uncomfortable and I felt really unsafe, unseen, and unloved. That was what was painful for me. However, that has given me fucking energy and passion and purpose to work on myself and develop myself so I can express myself, and it's given me purpose to help others do so. So that greatest pain is what's given me purpose. It's given me drive. It's why I'm so consistent doing what I do, because I love what I do. I don't have to be on this podcast right now. I don't have to be making this video right now. I'm doing this because I'm fucking inspired to do it, and it came from that fucking pain I went through. So I'm here to challenge your beliefs. And again, I've already given 2 trigger warnings. I'll give another. I'm not here to belittle you. I'm not here to invalidate you, but I'm here to challenge you to ask yourself quality questions around the wounds that you haven't healed through. Because how to heal requires awareness. Put in awareness on that wound, because your ego by nature is going to avoid it. Like if you can't remember much of your childhood because there was a lot of pain there, it's because your ego doesn't want to be hurt. It doesn't want that pain. So it's going to block it out. So by putting awareness on it, whether it's journaling, meditating, whether it's having some form of a therapist or a coach or someone to guide you through it, it's about putting awareness on it and then seeing how it served you. Remember this, if you're listening to this and you want to write down a lesson and something that really, really helps out, until you can say you're grateful for something, you have not healed through it. I use the word dissolve. You want to learn how to dissolve your problems, because the only problem there is that you think there is one. There is no problem. Everything that was painful for you, hurtful for you, the abandonment. I'll share with you another story. I had a client that I was working with. I still work with this client. And we're working through some relationship stuff. And she was getting really triggered in her relationship. And we worked together. I said, what specifically triggered you? And she went out to work or to dinner or something like that. And she felt abandoned because the partner didn't show up. I said, okay, tell me the earliest. We did some healing work together that I guided her through, and we got to the point where she felt abandoned as a child. And she judged her parents for that. And I asked her, I'm not going to use her real name. I'm going to use the name Sarah. I'd say, Sarah, you tell me, what is some of the strongest things or the proudest traits that you have about yourself? And she's a mother. She's got kids, single mother. She was in a new relationship. She wasn't with the partner of the kids. She runs her own business. She has her own friendship circle. She's a very independent, strong woman. And I said, I wanted to ask you, Sarah, where do you think that independence has come from? It came from that abandonment. We all know people who are overparented, who are bubble wrapped, and the bird is never pushed to leave the nest. And they never it's like another analogy that is fitting for this. When a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, when it's breaking out of its cocoon, it struggles. It needs to fight to do it. They did like a little sort of test on it, not a very humane one, but they would break the cocoon. So they would cut the cocoon to let the butterfly out, but the butterfly would die because the struggle for the butterfly to get out, it forces and pushes blood into its wings to give it strength to fly. So the pain and the trauma and the wounds that you haven't healed through have fucking served you if you're willing to look for it. If you're willing to ask the quality questions. I'm gonna give you some questions to ask yourself. How has this served me? What are the benefits of this? How has this made me stronger? How has this made me wiser? How has this benefited my top 3 values? So that's where do your values determination and then ask these questions. That's why I spoke about values first. How has this benefited my top values? For me, I had a lot of pain around social settings. So I had a lot of social anxiety growing up, and I'm conscious of my words. I experienced social anxiety growing up. But what that's made me very fucking good at is human behavior. I'm very conscious of making people, I'm like hyper aware and hyper conscious of how other people feel. Do you think that's a benefit for someone who helps people mentally and emotionally? Fuck yes. So that social anxiety, even though it was painful for me and it was quite traumatic for me back then, has given me incredible skill sets that I'm very grateful to have to this day. So you can apply what I'm saying to your friends, your parents, your bullies, your teachers, whatever was painful for you. So I hope this made sense. So just some questions again. And you can ask variations of these questions, but I'll repeat some more for you. How has this served me? What is the benefits of this? How has this made me stronger and wiser? What have I learned from this? How am I going to be a stronger man or woman or whatever you identify as because of this situation? How has this benefited my top 3 values? How is this helping me fulfill my purpose in life? And any other variation of those questions. There's another tool, I won't go into that today, but there's more tools to do that, and that's where I come into it. That's why I do what it is that I do. There's many tools that you can do to help work through that, but the process remains the same. Remember the line I said, until you can say you're grateful for someone or something, whatever it is you're judging, until you can say you're grateful for it, you have not let go of it. You have not healed through it. And again, this is no disrespect, no invalidating, no belittling anyone. I'm just here to challenge this way of thinking. I'll finish on this. Dr. Viktor Frankel. I would love for you guys to read his book, Man's Search for Meaning. This man went through a concentration camp in World War II. His brother, his father, his mother, and his partner were all slaughtered in a concentration camp. He went through the whole experience of a concentration camp, where he had one piece of bread to eat for 3 days. He slept, like there was a room the size of my office right now, with 40 people in there, with no clothes. They're all skin and bone, and they had to sleep standing up. They were doing slave labor. If people dropped dead next to them, they didn't give a shit and they just move on. It was like nothing existed. They were treated like fucking pieces of meat. Man's Search for Meaning. Go read the book, because at the end, he's a rare survivor. He survived the World War II experience, and he came out the other side of it with purpose, with gratitude, with meaning, because it's a rare and it's a gift of being a human being, is we have a neurocortex, we have a frontal lobe, which allows us to assign what things mean to us. A breakup could be the worst thing that's ever happened to you, or it could be the best thing that's ever happened to you, and you have the ability to choose. So I'm here to challenge you. I'm here to hold you accountable. Dr. Viktor Frankel. Search it, Man's Search for Meaning. I encourage you to read that book, and I encourage you to do what I've said in this podcast. Rewatch this one if you need to. What are your values? I have a process. Go on YouTube. Lewis Huckstep, values. I'm pretty sure it'll pop up. Hopefully it's still there. Get clear on what they are, schedule them in, and then set boundaries around them. Then when it comes to healing, what specifically have you not let go of and healed through? Ask quality questions. How has this served you? What's the benefits of this? How has this made you stronger? How is this serving your purpose in life? How is this serving your top 3 values? And keep asking those questions until you can say you're grateful for it. Until you can say you're grateful for it, you haven't moved on. You haven't dissolved that problem. Guys, that is the video for today and the podcast for today. I hope you guys got value from it. If you did, please tag someone, share it with someone, and I'm really grateful for you guys. I will be running an event. I'm creating a foundation event that I'm going to be running for the rest of my life, and it's called Create Your Inspired Life, where we go through how to overcome mental and emotional limitations, how to get clear on your life's purpose, mission, and vision, and how to create that, how to create your master plan for life. I'm going to be running that. I haven't finished it yet. I'm putting it together now. Stay in tune with my content. I'll let you guys know when it's available, but this is going to be a cornerstone, program for me that I'm going to be running for the next 50 years. So I'm excited to run my first one. I'll let you guys know when I'm ready for it. But if you're interested, guys, join the group, Create a Life That Inspires You on Facebook. Follow me on socials. Leave your comments below, and I appreciate it. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.